So we're going to do some addition and subtraction, multiplication, division. We're doing all 4 operations today, y'all, because these nuggets of fraction, I mean, all of this, it just makes sense when you think about it. And when you sit down and say, oh, that's why that worked, it just blows your mind. Well, at least it blew my mind. Okay. So even when our kids are adding fractions, 3/10 plus 9/10, they have to know something about the first fraction before they add anything to it. So not jumping in. Well, what do we know about this? Well, I know that 3/10 is less than 1/2. I know that 9/10 is almost 1. So I estimate that this is going to be a little bit more than 1 whole. In that 3/10 plus 9/10, I'm going to bring my model in again. And if I know what a whole is, because these are tenths, I know that 10/10 is going to be equal to a whole, and I have a little bit more. That right there is building on the kids' knowledge and not teaching them algorithms too soon. And it increases that flexible thinking that we want our kids to have. And it connects to decimals, something else that they struggle with: fractions, decimals, percents. So if they can do this with the fractions, then they should be able to do this with decimals. We just have to make that connection for them. And they get the same answer there. And that's relating to fractions and decimals for our kiddos. This problem right here is one that our kids really struggle with too, because it is fractions. Let's look with regrouping. Let's look at that. So 1 2/6 minus 5/6 is going to be equal to something. Okay, so the way I learned this was, okay, so you have 1 and 2/6, and you're going to take away 5/6. Well, you don't have enough, so you're going to borrow. Well, when you talk about borrowing something, then that means that the number that you're borrowing from is going to get smaller, right? No, it shouldn't get smaller. And so I use the words rename and or regroup, because we're going to be regrouping, but renaming this to a friendlier way so that you can subtract these. Okay, so what we can do is we can decompose that 1 whole into 6/6. Okay, and so it becomes 6/6 plus 2/6 minus 5/6. Now, some of our kids will be able to see this, and especially with only working on those individual parts, they will be able to see this and then be able to say, hey, I can take 6/6 and I can subtract the 5/6, and I have 1/6 left, and I can put that with the 2/6 and I get 3/6. Some kids will be able to see that because we are focusing on those individual pieces that make up a fraction. But a lot of our kids will do this. They will take it and change it to an improper fraction. So they will combine 6/6 plus 2/6 and get 8/6, which is nothing wrong with that. But we have to make sure that our kids know that they can do these problems any way that makes sense to them. And these are a couple of ways that I know that kids really pick up on. And so they get the same exact answer, but it increases their flexibility, and it builds that fraction sense for our students, and giving them that model, that model to justify. Oh my goodness, that is a game changer. And even though these problems that I have today are not paired with a word problem, I think the more that you use the word problems and in context to help them to see things linearly will help them to make connections with everything. Like I said, connections, connections, connections.